Hi everybody and welcome to round 3 of the Harry Potter TCG Revival February tournament. We have Ben playing against Justin today. So up top we have Justin who is playing his Arthur item deck and he absolutely loves this deck. We've seen it go off a couple of times this tournament. He just keeps refining it, very solid build. And on bottom, we have Ben playing a Walden MacNair creature, spell, slinger, a bunch of different thing kind of deck. It's kind of a good stuff deck. He just has a bunch of different cards in it. I'm super excited to see what Ben does with his deck. I don't think that we've commented on his deck at all in this tournament in these videos. So let's see what he does. So Justin is off to a pretty decent start, getting those lessons out there, playing Holidays with Hags, which he'll be able to use Arthur's ability. Arthur's ability, as a starting character, allows you to choose one of your items in play and do damage to an opponent equal to that item's printed power cost. So Holidays with Hags is a 3 power item that Justin will be able to do 3 damage with for an action if he chooses to, so that is awesome. Walden MacNair's ability is if a creature would do damage to you, you may prevent all but one of that damage. Not super relevant in this particular case, mainly because Justin's not playing any creatures. He's just doing item damage stuff. So Walden's not going to do really anything in this game, but cool to see that as a starting character. So Justin has played a Hermione's Time Turner. It is a 5 cost item. Again, that Holidays with Hags is providing that 5th power. And Hermione's Time Turner will let him play a lesson before turn. And then if he wants to discard a lesson from play, to go find a unique card from his deck. Unfortunately, I don't think Justin's playing many cards that he can go fetch with Time Turner, but it is something that helps him ramp a little bit, which is nice, and lets him hit his opponent for 5 damage with Arthur. So it's doing a couple of things for Justin's deck. It just fits in really well. So Ben takes some damage, and then on his turn, he's going to throw out some lessons. So he has 4 colors in his deck. He has Charismatical Creatures, Transfiguration, Potions, and Quidditch. He has not played any Quidditch lessons so far. That is a very stretched base of lessons that Ben needs to have in his deck. There are fetch lessons now that essentially let you go get one of 2 different colored lessons, depending on which fetch lesson you have. So that could really help. I'm not sure if Ben is playing the fetch lessons or not, but hopefully he gets some Quidditch lessons so we can start playing those Bludger in the Stands. So Justin has a Madame Pomfrey out, which is great. It stops his opponent from playing one. A unique card can only be 1 in play for both players unless it's a starting character, so this is a great spot for Justin to be in. And Ben is still just playing lessons. So Justin gets out his key card of his deck. Broken Item is a 12 cost item. You can discard an item you control to reduce its cost by that item's printed power cost. So with just 7 power, Justin can discard Hermione's Time Turner and make that 12 cost Broken Item just cost 5. And then he just starts using Arthur to hit Ben over the head with that Broken Item, and that is the entire point of Justin's deck. He has been refining this, adding cards to it, learning how to play against different decks with it, and it's really cool to see it in play. Broken Item is also a card that when it comes into play, it will let you draw a card, so it doesn't take up, or it doesn't reduce your hand size, which is awesome. Alright, so Ben is going to play Alchemy, and that lets him search his deck for some lessons and put them into play. So that's a great way for Ben to fix his mana base. Or maybe Alchemy is into his hand. Sorry about that. But this is a great way for Ben to fix his mana base. Again, 4 colors is just stretched really thin. So Ben is going to have to do everything he can to get that. Ben plays a Table Trouble. He is mainboarding it, and that will discard all items from play, which gets rid of Justin's items. Great card for Ben to play. Really, really great card. So Justin plays a Basilisk Fang, which is one of his favorite cards. It is a 6 cost item, so it works well with Arthur. And when it comes into play, you can either do 2 damage to your opponent or to a creature of your choice, and then you can discard it to choose an opponent's item in play and discard it. So that's just really great, doing everything Justin kind of needs. Ben is going to come out with a Bludger in the Stand. So this is a rarely seen Quidditch card. I love it. I love the art on this card. It is fantastic. Shout out to that artist. So this is a Diagon Alley expansion card that does 4 damage, and then your opponent chooses one of their items in play and discards it. Justin just has the one item, so he has to discard that one. Bludger in the Stands, I love seeing it. Great inclusion, very fun card. So Justin is going to play Picking on Neville. Let's see what he's going to choose. Luckily, Ben does have Quidditch and Potion Lessons in his hand, so if he does discard one, it's not a huge deal. But that Care of Magical Creatures, he's only got one. So I'm assuming Justin chose the Care of Magical Creatures, and Ben chose to discard 2 Transfig Lessons in its place. Really great choice by Ben. He needs to save that creature lesson. So Ben is going to play a lesson, and then he is going to play Dementor's Kiss. So this is an event, and it will let him choose a character in play other than a starting character, and you put it under Dementor's Kiss. So essentially, you remove it from play and whatnot. And essentially, it stops characters that share a name with that character or an identity with that character from being played. So he's turning off Pomfrey. So that's just a really great move because now Justin doesn't have access to heal 12. So that's just working really well for Ben. Great move there. Justin does play a Self-Stirring Cauldron, so he has to discard 2 Potion Lessons to do it, but then he gets back in action. And then it looks like that Self-Stirring Cauldron is going to bring him up enough where he can discard the Holidays with Hags to reduce Broken Item's cost, and then play Broken Item. And I think that Justin was just hitting Ben for too much, and Ben conceded. So both players get to sideboard 15 cards. Ben is probably looking for more item removal cards, and maybe some more ramp, and Justin's looking for maybe just some spell prevention-y cards or something like that. So Ben does have all 4 of his colors, so he's in a good spot there. That's what he wants to see in an opening hand, and he also has I Solemnly Swear, which will let him discard 3 cards from his hand to go search for 2 more lessons and put them into play from his deck. So he's off to a great start. He just needs some card draw at this point, because I don't think he has enough cards in his hand to really be doing anything significant to Justin. So Justin is going to do that very traditional play of getting that 3rd lesson and then a Holidays with Hags. This is going to be really nice to give him a power, give him something to use Arthur's ability with, and just discard potentially for a broken item. So he's off to a good start. And Ben plays an empty frame. I did not see what character he chose, but I'm going to assume it's Pomfrey. And there Justin plays Through the Arch. That is what he really needed. Through the Arch is going to essentially stop his opponent from playing spells. And most of what Justin's deck is doing is playing spells to do damage and remove cards. In order to solve this, Ben needs to skip 4 actions, which is a bit hefty. So Justin has that Time Turner out. That is the play that we usually see from him. Again, helps with ramp and also helps him discard it to reduce Broken Item's cost. So this is all doing really great stuff. We see a lot of cards in Ben's hand. He has skipped 3 actions for Through the Arch. He needs to skip, I believe, 1 more, and then he solves Through the Arch. So he's off to a decent spot right now. In his hand, we see a Hippogriff, I believe that is. That'd be a great creature if he could play it. It just has so many lessons to play. He does have 2 spells that could do some stuff to help. Dirty Game and I Solemnly Swear, but he just can't play spells right now until he gets rid of Through the Arch. So I'm not sure why Ben doesn't just solve through the arch here, unless he anticipates Justin having another in hand. Justin doesn't really have anything at this particular moment that Ben needs to get rid of. So Ben does play Trevor. Trevor lets him, I believe, choose a lesson from his discard pile and put it into his hand. So that's awesome. He just gets back that lesson that he may have lost earlier to some damage to Arthur. So it looks like Justin is going to use Arthur to hit Ben for 5 damage with Hermione's Time Turner. I'm assuming Justin has not seen Broken Item. Otherwise, I think he would have played it last turn. So kind of odd there. He may need to draw some other cards. It seems like Justin's deck does really well with getting Broken Item out, but not necessarily in the card draw department. So maybe he just needs something else there to help him. But he's off to a decent start if he can just keep hitting for 5 damage, as long as Ben doesn't do anything too crazy. So it looks like Ben is going to play a Muddy Practice. So this is probably the most common match in the game. And essentially, usually it sits in play and you have like an Angelina as your starter, so it gives you a third action, because to win the match, you have to discard cards from your hand and use actions to do that, and people just don't typically do that. But Ben might try to actually win this match straight out, which would be really cool to see somebody win it the way you were supposed to win it. Justin does get out that Broken Item. There it is. Ben needs to skip an action for Through the Arch, which he does. And then I believe Ben gets an item back for Through the Arch, if I remember correctly. Looks like Ben is going to get back that Bludger. Okay, so that's why Ben has the Muddy Practice. So Bludger, if it's in play, will do 3 damage before its owner's turn, as long as there's a match in play. So Ben wants to do a Muddy Practice and then a Bludger, and just do repeated damage that way. So with Ben's second action, he plays a Table Trouble. That gets rid of all the items in play, which gets rid of the Broken Item. And I believe Justin had, maybe it was a Holiday with Hags in play. So that is just a decent play for Ben to get rid of that repeated damage source. Justin will play another Time Turner and then use it for 5 damage. Looks like this may be kind of a small damagey game with Arthur and just 5 over and over again, but that does the job. So Ben plays that Bludger in the Stands again. Again, I just love that art so much. It is wonderful art. I cannot get over it. It's always been one of my favorite cards. And that will do 4 damage and then force Justin to discard an item from play. He only has 1, so he has to discard the Time Turner. Not a great spot for Justin. He doesn't really have any other board presence. He does have the lessons in play to be able to do a lot of stuff, but he just needs more board presence because Arthur, it depends on having stuff in play. So Justin is going to play a Basilisk Fang, probably choose 2 damage to Ben, I would assume. Yep, chooses 2 damage. And then maybe action 2, 6 damage from Arthur. Yep, and then does 6 damage from Arthur. So this brings Ben to 7 cards. He'll draw 1 for turn, so he's down to 6. Ben is on a very tight clock now. The Bludger will do 3 damage, which is awesome. So Ben is getting in some of that damage. Took a while for that game plan to get online, but now that it's online, it is doing some stuff. Not sure if if he has anything in hand that can really help him. Table Trouble would get rid of the Fang, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. And Justin's going to draw a card and probably do 6, with Arthur Weasley, and that is game. So congrats to both players. Justin's deck really went off like it tends to do really well. Justin has really refined that deck. He's an expert at playing it, and he loves it. Great to see that work. Ben's 4-color deck did a lot of different things. It did some removal stuff, it did some damage stuff. We saw some different strategies between Trevor to soak up spell damage and the Match and the Bludger to do damage every turn. Lots of cool stuff there. It just didn't come together in the end to be able to defeat Arthur's broken items. Good luck to both players in future games, and thank you everybody for watching.